Welcome, brave souls, to another haunting chapter of Ghost Girl Diaries, where the supernatural awaits, transmitting from the other side, where paranormal meets glamour. I'm your host this evening, Crystal Leandra, the Queen of the Dead, a paranormal filmmaker and investigator, and the glam behind the ghost hunt. Here we dive into spine-chilling hauntings, explore the unknown, and uncover the secrets across the most haunted locations in the world. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, you're in for a thrill. So grab your EMF meter, your crystals, and your cross, because things are about to get supernatural with a little bit of glam. Let's get haunted. This is Ghost Girl Diaries. Bonus podcast of the week, and this is just me. This is going to be a black magic podcast. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't really want to do this podcast. I then talked to Kat. I thought about bringing Kat on to do this podcast. She was fine with it. She actually wanted to talk about it. And then my spirit team, this is one of those podcasts, right, where they're like, it needs to be recorded and I need to post this as soon as possible. And it sucks because, like, I don't even have any notes right now. I'm not even prepared. Like, you know, you guys know I have a little bit of a type A personality. You know, when I'm filming anything in general, I like to have, you know, little, you know, notes in my phone. Like, I have nothing right now. So and this was guided by them. So maybe that means my higher self or spirit team is going to come through me to talk. But all I know is that this was, this had a sense of urgency behind it. And I'm going to wing it. I don't know what that means. So I'm going to be as delicate as I can with this podcast. Oh, I also want to point out, a lot of you have been messaging Kat and I both and leaving comments that there were tons of EVPs in the last podcast. Trust me, I know. I actually ended up having to cut a lot out. Like, I can't edit the podcast like a haunted episode because we just don't have time for that, you know what I mean? So there were voices throughout that whole thing on my side and Kat's side, so our spirit teams were like coming through. So trust me, I know, which is kind of cool because that just shows like Kat and I are authentic in what we talk about, and we're getting spiritual activity even during just a basic ass podcast. All right, so I'm just gonna jump right in. I'm feeling really hot, so that usually means my spirit team is around me. If I can't see them or sense them, I can feel it with my body. So I feel this urgency of come in like, okay, get it done. Alrighty, so it has been brought to my attention by more than one person that there's a particular past friendship that I had with someone who has enacted or done black magic on me. Not only have they done black magic spells on me, but also on Dakota and his crew, as well as Sam and Colby. So I'm going to talk about my questions I had for my spirit team, black magic in general. Now, when you first say black magic to somebody on Earth, it's going to be a little jarring. I mean, anyone in paranormal or the occult is going to be like, whoa, you know, black magic, that sounds a little sketch. It sounds scary. And it is, but it's also not. Like, I'm not naive. Like, I'm going to say this, okay? Dark and white, black and white, dark and light, doesn't matter what it is, it exists, okay? Like, you cannot have the night sky without the stars, right? Like, without the light of the stars, they would not twinkle without the darkness. So it's like a universal law, essentially, on the other side. Like, you know, there's two frequencies. There's three, essentially. There's the gray zone, which is sort of the in-between. There's the dark frequency, and then the dark side, the dark forces. And then there's the light frequency, the light workers, the starseeds, right? So as a human, you get to choose your path, right? There's really no right or wrong way. But I don't think people realize how much magic exists on our everyday, you know? And I've talked about this before. Paganism, you know, the occult, Christmas. If you put up a Christmas tree, that's paganism. Like, that's ancient times paganism. You know, if you blow your birthday candles out on your birthday or make a wish, or if you send a balloon off into the universe and make a wish or send the balloon to your loved one, that's all witchcraft. That's all witchcraft. You don't have to define witchcraft as getting juniper berries and sitting around making spells at a cauldron. You can do that as well. You can take it that far. But simple day-to-day witchcraft is manifestation. If you sit down, and I hope to God you're manifesting. For God's sake, I hope to God you're manifesting. If you're not, you're blowing it, okay? Because that's the point of being here. Creating your reality is witchcraft. It's been demonized on this planet. It's not really called witchcraft on the other side. It's just called manifesting, you know? And as far as black magic goes, it also exists. I'm not going to sit in front of you and say it doesn't exist. That would be naive, okay? You get to choose, though, if you want to remain in fear of it or not. But black magic can be as small as we've all invoked black magic, one way or another. Have you ever gotten road rage and you like cuss somebody out for cutting you out? That's black magic. Have you ever gotten mad and wished someone ill, like, God, I hate you, blah, blah, blah. That's black magic. It's that simple. Can it be darker, once again, like witchcraft and having a cauldron and using it, you know, Jewish Dybbuk box to sort of create darkness to people that you, like, hate? Sure, you can go that extreme if that's what you want. There's also universal laws, though. And the universal laws that exist are essentially whatever your vibration puts out is what you get back. You are a mirror. You yourself are a mirror. At all times, 24/7, whether you know it or not, you are connected to your higher self. You don't have to admit it. You don't have to know that it's happening. It just is. Have you ever had that little gut instinct where you know you need to take a right instead of a left, even though it's the long way home, and then you find out later there was an accident on that street and it saved you from having a rollover crash? That was you connecting to your higher self, period. You look at dark magic, which is the darker side of it. What Kat experienced, what she talked about on the last podcast, which is she was working as a contractor, as a vocalist, and the parishioner found out that she was a tarot reader, and they started stalking and harassing her, telling her to repent via text, via phone call, via email, via voicemail. They were stalking her, harassing her, telling her to repent, and that if she did not repent, she would go to hell. That is a form of black magic. I don't care if it's in the church or not. That is a form of black magic. And the point of black magic or dark magic is to instill fear into what you would call the victim, right? Instill fear and paranoia into the victim to the point where they believe your magic. Because if you don't believe their magic, if you don't believe in the dark magic, their magic ceases to exist, right? So dark witchcraft or dark witches have to make you believe in it. Which, once again, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm not saying that. But they have to make you believe it, because without you believing in it, their powers do not exist. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? When I found out a past friend was enacting, using dark magic, using haunted antique relics against myself, people like Dakota, people like Sam and Colby, I immediately went to my spirit team. Once again, how do I connect with my guides? 2 ways. I can connect with them so clear in the dream space. Like, I know how to get to bed, close my eyes, and I literally can wake up on the other side within seconds, okay? And I can see them face to face and communicate like we do here on the 3D. Or I can telepathically do it right now. I know that they're standing around me right now. In fact, I'm pretty sure that my higher self is channeling right now, because I feel like I'm in the passenger seat, if that makes sense. If you're driving a car, you feel like you're in the passenger seat while your higher self has now taken over. And also, your words come out so fast. Sometimes when you're speaking, you think ahead and you know what to say. When your higher self is in that position, you don't even think before you speak. You're talking before you even knew what that thought was. So that's a pure channel, which is actually what I'm doing right now, okay? Now, going back to the dark side, I immediately went to my spirit team, and I went to them in a dream state because I wanted to see them face to face and in person, because I needed to see their facial reactions. I wanted it to be, most of the time when I'm connecting with my guides telepathically, I can only really hear one voice. It's usually like a unanimous voice or one guide speaking for the crew, for all of them. I usually have about 5 guides on staff at once, okay? So the reason I did this in a dream state was because I wanted to talk to all of them at the same time. So I asked them to sit down at a table with me. We had this conversation, and I said, okay, this past friend, shockingly, is enacting black magic on not only me, but other people. And, my question was, is it possible? Am I being hurt? Am I being harmed by this? And if so, what do I do to stop it? And unanimously, my entire spirit team started to laugh. And I don't mean a chuckle, I mean hysterically laughing. Throwing their heads back, talking with each other, like, can you believe it's so funny? And like, I'm not gonna lie, I was upset with the reaction initially because I was like, I don't find this funny. What's happening? What should I do? And so one of my main guides stepped forward and she said, well, the question is, do you believe that he is capable of harming you? Do you believe that? Even on Earth, do you believe that? And I didn't think it was a trick question, but I did think first. I said, I don't think he is capable of harming me. I don't think that's possible. And she said, given how protected you are, given your power with the higher realms, given your connection to your higher self, do you really believe someone has that type of power over you? Do you believe that? I mean, it was a genuine question. And I looked at her and said, well, no, now that we're talking about it, no, I don't believe he has power over me. And she said, then that's your answer. And suddenly I just felt kind of at peace and kind of calmed down. Now, in the midst of this chaos of hearing this person's practicing hooga booga on me, okay, and others, I found out this person is claiming they're the reason I haven't gotten signed to a television series because of the magic they've invoked on me. They're claiming my mother's death. They're claiming they caused my mother's death. They're claiming they caused Sam and Colby the cancer one of them had, I think. And they're also claiming Dakota getting blacklisted, essentially. And I was like, so I asked my guides, I said, wow, if this is true, did he cause my mother's death? And my guides were like, he had nothing to do with that contract. That had nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do with it. And I was like, are you sure? What do I need to do? Like, I mean, I practice white magic. I don't put spells on people. Do I need to put a spell on myself? What do I do? And, my guides just calmed me down and said, first of all, no one has that type of power over you unless you believe they do. No one. You are so powerful. You are so protected in the spirit realm. No one can hurt and harm you unless you give them permission to do so. And then they started comparing things like relationships. Think about you're in a bad relationship with someone. Like, I've been in relationships with narcissists, people that put you down mentally and make you believe less than what you believe in yourself. That's a form of black magic. Abuse in any form is a form of black magic and dark witchcraft. And my guides said, you're not having anything to worry about. You just don't. And I said, well, what about Dakota? Did they cause the cancer? They said, this is repulsive and ridiculous. They said, this is a person who has formally confronted and conformed to the dark side, and they're probably not going to be able to come back from it. And my guide specifically said, if someone is out there playing God, essentially, claiming that they can put spells on people and take them out and kill people, unalive people, and cause cancer on people, she goes, this is a very dark human. And this human needs to be, don't interact with people like this because you're lowering your vibration. You are plugged into such a high vibration and a different timeline. You're untouchable to this person. And that's when she said, you need to communicate this publicly to your audience. People need to understand that dark magic, black magic, bad things people wish on others can only happen with your consent. And you are so guided and protected in the spirit realm that it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But once again, acknowledging that yes, people do bad things. And she said, the universe will bring this back into balance. You know, karmic justice happens and it works in the good's favor. If you are of the light, if you are of the good, it always works in your favor. And people who dabble with the darkness will be dealt with. And she said, but that is not yours to worry about. That is not yours to worry about. She painted a very clear picture. And she said, think about what it takes for someone to use a haunted relic. Particularly, you know, one that has been used in the Holocaust with Jewish people. And she goes, you know, she also pointed this out, which was very clear, which was interesting. She said, objects cannot hold entities or energy, contain them, is what she was saying. So she was like talking about a box. You can't contain a person or entity in a box. Energy is not containable. And it doesn't matter what kind of magic spells you do. Energy is not obtained to, you can't keep it in a little box, okay? But she goes, bad memories, bad energy can absolutely attach itself to the box, but it doesn't necessarily create a persona or person out of it, if that makes sense. So she said, first of all, there's not like a demon sitting in a box that is accessible to anyone to be like, hey, I'm going to pull this demon out, we're going to use it. That's not how it works, she said. But she goes, you know, if someone is putting the energy into creating a dark spell, they have a cauldron, there are magic wands that you can use. Those do exist. You can use crystals to invoke darkness. You can use, you know, not only spell casting words are spells, but also herbalism, you know, rocks, the earth. You can use anything to cast a spell, essentially. She goes, imagine the energy that it takes to obtain all the items you need for dark magic. You go in this room with this haunted relic and you sit down and you invoke the relic or the being to cause harm to people. She goes, in that amount of time that someone did a black magic spell on someone and took the time out of their day to do that, or multiple times, she goes, look at the sense of worth that is in that person. And I said, what do you mean? What do you mean? And she goes, if someone is casting dark spells on other people, they lack self-worth completely. They have complete, total fear within them that they are not good enough, they will not be good enough, they are lacking in more ways than one. They truly believe that to their soul, that they are lacking. Therefore, they believe their spells can take down other people to make them more powerful in their mind, to essentially take these people down and put them on a pedestal, okay? And she goes, you know, sometimes it will work in a way, just as a more of like a cloaking sense. Like they're going to try to cloak themselves and mask and sort of pretend to be a person on the outside, but on the inside they're actually really this dark being. She goes, that happens often. And she goes, it may work for a while, but eventually the mask will fall. And she said, just remember that this person is coming from severe lack within themselves. They do not feel they are good enough. They do not feel they are lovable. They do not feel that they are wanted. And she goes, they are vibrating at such a low frequency. Your energy is so unobtainable. And she even compared it to Dakota, for example. She said, you know, look at you. She goes, you've had all these contracts and you've turned them down due to ethics. She said, you've turned all of these contracts down because they have not morally and ethically lined up with you. You have refused over and over again to sleep with producers to get signed and get what you want. You have over and over again refused contracts saying, I will not allow you to be in control of post-production and put out fake evidence, because she goes, you are morally and ethically intact. And she goes, that makes you strong. She goes, you do not have a price tag, Crystal. No one can buy you. And that makes you a threat. That makes you a danger to others, because you could have had the series signed. She goes, there are paranormal investigators out there that would have died to have their series signed 100 times over what you've already had, and they would have sold their soul, and they would have sold themselves, and they would have signed the series just to be famous and get on TV. And she goes, yet you are following your path of truth, and you have said no every single time. And to the outside, for someone that is lacking, that is a threat, because he knows you are not viable. You are not purchasable no matter what anyone does. To the point where now you've finally got up out of your death and rebirth, and you're carrying on, and you're planning to do the independent filming route. So she goes, you are still not stoppable. And you're a woman in this industry. You are the red witch that they couldn't hang. She said, they fear you, so get up and keep going. Then she compared Dakota, and she said, he's doing the same thing. He may have gotten fired and you know, the fallout happened with his show. He still got back up and continued to film. He has just as much resilience. That is also a threat, because other people who lack would have already signed the series, wouldn't have been as strong as Dakota did and crowdfunded. So she goes, you're both, you know, on the same frequency. Then she compared it to Sam and Colby. They're independent filmmakers. They've got millions of views, which once again, I haven't watched any of their stuff. But she goes, they've gotten millions of views. They've done it all on their own without a production company. They're not under the control and thumb of a production company or a network. That also gives them more financial freedom. They get to pocket more of their own money versus giving it out to the production company or whatever else. And she goes, they are a threat. So when someone comes in with an absolute lack mindset who does not have the drive or, you know, the ability to continue to get up and try again, they don't understand why these people have the strength within them that they do. So the only thing they can think of is, let's use a haunted relic and let's take them down. But she said it does backfire. It comes back, because when you're vibrating at such a high level and you're in tune with yourself and you speak freely, unapologetically, without fear, you stand up for yourself and for the rights of others, like women in film, women in paranormal. She goes, your vibration's so high that those spells can't even touch you. They just can't, because you're on the path of righteous. You're not doing things wrong. You're not hurting and harming people. So unfortunately, that karmic and the downfall will come back. Whoa, that was like totally channeled, that whole thing. Like, I feel like I don't even remember what I just said. Honest to God. Holy crap. Sorry. What was I talking about? Dakota, me. Oh, my vibration's high, and I can't be hit with that. Sorry. That like, when that happens, I'm not here. I don't really know where to go with this podcast now. I hate when they drop like that. It's like, I'm like, you left me hanging, and something just whistled. I heard a whistle, like, come on, wrap it up. Okay. Black magic does exist, but I guess I'm here. I'm going to take this as a learning experience and a lesson to sort of teach the audience of, like, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I'm also saying, like, don't plug into that frequency, okay? Like, I've been saying that for so long with all this stuff that I've learned about the other side. Don't buy into that frequency, because if you walk around in fear, right, and if you have, like, I had a friend call the other day, and it's a mutual, and they know what's going on right now. And she was like, what if they put a spell on me? You know what I mean? Like, what happens? Like, I have kids. What if they put a spell on me? And I was like, do you really believe that this person plays God? And she's like, no. And then that was the moment I was like, I've got to turn this into a lesson for others to sort of, like, not fear the darkness. As long as you're a good person. I mean, no one's perfect. Like, you're going to screw up. But I mean, like, doing intentionally dark stuff, like, claiming you are the reason my mother died, claiming you're the reason you gave someone cancer is, like, effing dark, bro. That is effing dark, okay? Like, you're a dark human, in my opinion. Like, I have a feeling this person, when they cross over, when their time comes, I think that they've done so much dark stuff that the public doesn't even know about, that it's just slowly coming out in the wash. Like, I know everything. Like, you guys don't even know half of things that are about to come out or that will start to leak out slowly. But this person has done so many dark things filming people without their consent during intimate times, like dark things. When they cross over, they're probably going to choose to not return into the light. And the reason, and we've seen this happen before, Richard Ramirez is another example. When you're a bad person, generally speaking, like you've done bad things, and I don't necessarily mean, serial killer status, but just bad person in general, you don't want to go home to meet your maker. And those are the people that end up being stuck in the gray zone because they don't want to meet their higher self, because your higher self is a mirror, and you're going to go home, you're going to have a life review, and you're going to rewatch all the bad shit you did to everybody. And your higher self's going to be like, okay, well, now there's karma, so we have to rebalance it. So what are we going to do? Because you owe a lot of debt now. You owe a lot of karmic debt. So how are we going to rebalance this back out? And most of the time, those people don't want to repay their karmic debt because they've become so stuck in their ego in the 3D, they can't get out of it. And now they've destroyed their lives. So I want this to be a learning lesson. I want this to feel healing. I want you to feel empowered. I want you to walk away feeling in control and understand that no one has the ability to spellcast, manipulate, or control your life except you. You are so guided and protected in the spirit realm, it's not even funny. We have our higher selves there watching, walking with us every second of the day. We have spirit teams. Most of us have between 3 to 5, depending on how large your life path is. I have 5 guides, okay? We have angels, we have messengers. I've had dreams of Hecate coming to me in dreams. I've had dreams of Hermes coming to me in dreams. He's the messenger between the upper world and the lower world of those vibrations. Like, we are so protected and guided from the other side because that's our home. This is like a temporary ride. Just like do good and be good and like live your highest path, whatever that is, whatever your dream is, live your highest path. But putting ill intent on people who are on a different frequency and a different vibration from you isn't going to work. The only way you can plug into that type of energy is if you fear it. I don't fear that energy because I wish you could see what I see. I wish I could take a night vision camera with me to the other side every night and film what I see so that you could see it and understand how protected we are. And like, we're not meant to come here to suffer and like be in pain. We're not meant to come here and harm others. And I'm going to be extremely particular with who I allow in my circle, because this person masked hard, like really, really hard. And I don't ever want to be associated with somebody who claims they, helped unalive. The trauma I went through with my mother and her death, for someone to claim that is like so dark. Someone getting testicular cancer and you're going to claim that you caused that? You're going to claim you caused the downfall? Why on earth? I'm a light worker. I'm a star seed. Okay, I've lived thousands of lives. Believe me when I say that. What kind of low vibrational frequency of a human or of a soul you are would you want to invoke pain or harm on others? That is crazy. Why you would want to claim you caused cancer or death on someone is insanity to me. That is damn near demonic in my opinion. That, to me, is the definition of demon. I have such opinions on dark energy and demons, okay? And I don't think it's what we think it is. There's been a lot of fear casted due to religion and society. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying I don't think it's what we think they are. But this is a damn near example of what a demon is in human form. We're not going to even talk about it after this. That's it. I have so much more to say, and I'm just not. Because I just want you to walk away feeling in control and powerful and know that no one can harm you without your consent. Please don't forget your power. I'm probably going to get dark witches or the witchcraft community come on and leave comments like, oh, dark magic exists, black magic exists. A dark witch, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, let's start with that, but a dark witch has to make you feel inferior to them, like they are in control over the spells, and they have to make you feel scared. And the reason that they do that is their power would be useless without it. If you didn't believe in the darkness, it wouldn't exist. in my world, it doesn't exist, right? There was back in the day, like you'll have to research this if you're interested in it, right? The term warlock is an ancient term. Technically, the term warlock means a male or a masculine witch, okay? But in like, I think the 1400s, once again, you'll have to research it if you want to find this out. A dark warlock would actually be someone who was a part of a witch coven, and he would start doing black spells or spell casting to harm or hurt people of the coven, and they would be like expunged from the coven. They would be removed from the coven because they were considered a dark warlock. And oftentimes these warlocks would, in particular, manipulate. Whoa, I just saw my guide. That was weird. I just saw my spirit guide and he looked like Groot. So I don't know what that's about. That's got to be a message for later. I'm very confused. I've never seen that before. I love Groot, by the way. Anyway, a dark warlock would maybe, what's he talking? Is this in relation to this conversation? I'm trying to see. This is the hard part with like psychic medium abilities. Sometimes you only get pieces, and then sometimes they don't click till later. You're like, what was that about? You know. Anyway, a dark warlock back in the day would often manipulate the female witches. Okay, and they would hurt and harm the female witches by removing their power. And often, what they would do is, I wish I would have researched this before this, but my guides told me not to. They said just talk about what you know. So here I am. They would try to remove female power, women's power, and to just paint this as specific as I can, a dark warlock will steal your soul through your hole. I said what I said. So a dark warlock will hit it and quit it, sometimes convince you that they love you or they're in a relationship with you and drop you like a bad habit. They'll cheat on you. And they do that to make you forget your self-worth. They do that to make you forget your power. Because then when the female, the woman, the divine feminine is God. We are the closest things to God. We have a womb. We create life. Without the womb, the warlock would cease to exist. So what is it that he wants to take? Her ultimate power. Do you get what I'm saying? So he will try to make her feel like she is a used up, dried piece of meat. And then she walks away with emotions and empathy, thinking that she was in love with this person. And then he dropped her like a bad habit. She walks away depressed, stops living authentically, stops being connected to source because she's still consumed by this man. Meanwhile, he's on like the 6th or 7th or 8th or 12th girl. Do you see what I'm saying? So dark warlocks exist, which is another reason why women need to protect themselves against it, is like men, powerful, rich men in general sometimes. And like, look, I know that not all guys are haters. Okay, I have some amazing fans that are men, and I need y'all. I need you to back me up, guys. I need you to be there on the front line. I need you for protection. You're the divine masculines. I need you there. But there are some weak-ass men out there who cannot step up to the plate, who cannot be divine masculines. They cannot handle the task. So instead, they try to revoke the divine feminines of all their power. And that is also witchcraft, which is why I am telling you. I understand sometimes people like to have one-night stands. I get it. I never was that person. But if you do, that's fine. But be very careful and aware who you're sleeping with. Because you're allowing a soul, not a person, into your body, quite literally. And sometimes it's with extreme ill intent. And beware. And remember your power. They want you to forget your power. And that's across the board. That's for men and women alike. Please don't forget your power. And then when you obtain that power, don't use it for bad. We're not here to damage and hurt each other. We're not here to tear each other down. We're not here to be they versus them and them versus me. It's not, let's tear everybody down to try to get to the top like the paranormal community's always been. That doesn't exist. We are all our own competition. We are in our own lane. We are all manifesting our own reality, period. No one's in competition with you. You don't have to compete or take someone down to become your ultimate divine self. Just do the work. Put the work in and figure it out and manifest. Become the highest version of yourself. And stop believing and buying into these dark frequencies because it's BS. There's no way I'm going to let someone take over control of my story. There is no way I'm going to freaking incarnate into this heavy ass meat suit, this meat sack that I'm having to drive around on this freaking floating rock out in the middle of nowhere, and then let some idiot take control of my story. Are you?
And that's a wrap on today's episode of Ghost Girl Diaries. Thank you so much for joining me in my crypt. If you loved what you heard, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. It helps the ghostly adventures continue. And also don't forget to follow me on all social media platforms. You can search for Crystal Leandra or Ghost Girl Diaries. Please support me on both. This is where you can catch exclusive content, behind the scenes footage, and stay up to date on all things paranormal and glam. And as always, stay curious, stay fearless, and stay spooky. And I'll catch you next time on Ghost Girl Diaries, where the dead never rest, and neither do we. Until then, my ghoulish friends, sweet screams.